The word wedding just cost you 30% more. On the venue, the dress, the flowers, the invitations, all of it. Everything you think you know about planning a wedding is already outdated. Stick to the old rules and you will overspend, overstress, and overpay for things nobody even notices anymore. So here's what actually matters in a modern wedding and where you can save thousands. Quick promise before we start. This is not the generic set a budget, make a checklist advice you have heard 100 times. Every single tip in this video is something most brides find out too late, usually after they have already paid for it. Here is an example of what I mean. There is one word, one, that vendors listen for, and the moment you say it, your quote can jump by 30% for the exact same service, same flowers, same food, same everything. I will tell you that word in a minute, and once you know it, you will never say it out loud again. That is the kind of thing we are doing today. The old rules that quietly drain your bank account, and the modern move that replaces each one. Some save you a few $100s. A couple save you thousands. And stick around for the third one because it is the most expensive mistake on this entire list, and almost nobody sees it coming. Let us get into it. Old rule number 1. When you call a venue or a vendor, you tell them it's for a wedding and you ask for their wedding package. Here's why that's costing you. Remember that word I promised you? It's wedding. The second a vendor hears it, the price changes. Same flowers, same catering, same tent, but now it's a wedding, so the quote quietly climbs. People in the industry have a name for it, the wedding tax. And you volunteer yourself for it the moment you lead with the word. So here's the modern move. When you're getting your first quotes, describe what you actually need. A dinner event for 80 people, a floral arrangement for a party of this size, before you ever say the W word. Get the real number first. Then, when you do book, you've got a baseline they can't inflate. Brides who do this routinely report quotes coming in hundreds of dollars lower on the exact same service. And it's not lying. It's just not handing them a reason to charge you more before you've even sat down. The same trick works with photographers. Ask for event coverage quotes before you mention it's a wedding, and you'll often get their real starting number before the bridal premium kicks in. Photographers are one of the top 3 costs on most wedding budgets, right up there with the venue and the dress, so getting an honest baseline matters. One more move on this. Stop booking your date on a Saturday in peak season out of habit. Friday weddings typically run $2,000 to $5,000 cheaper than the same venue on a Saturday. And an off-season month can cut costs even further, sometimes 35 to 45% off peak pricing. And here's the part nobody mentions. Your guests will not remember or care what day of the week it was. They'll remember the night, not the calendar. Okay, but the single most expensive habit isn't the venue or the date. It's what you're about to spend on the dress. And the way that industry is set up is honestly a little sneaky. That's next. This is the one I told you to stick around for. The third rule and the most expensive mistake on the list. Old rule. You go to a bridal salon, you find the dress, you buy the wedding gown. And here's the sneaky part almost nobody realizes until the receipt prints. A huge chunk of what you're paying for is the word stitched onto the tag. Bridal. The exact same silhouette, same fabric, same beading, same cut, sold as an evening gown or a formal gown instead of a bridal gown can cost a fraction of the price. Designers know brides will pay more, so identical dresses get a bridal markup for no reason other than the label. So here's the modern move, and this is the aha. Widen your search. Look at formal and evening wear, not just bridal. Look at sample sales, where salons sell floor models for up to 70% off. Look at pre-owned, thousands of dresses worn once for a single day, listed at a fraction of retail and often never even altered. You are not buying a used dress. You're buying a dress that had one very careful 8-hour life, and one insider tip most people never hear. Bridal salon alterations are where salons quietly make their margin. If you buy the gown somewhere and get it altered by an independent seamstress instead of the salon, you can save hundreds more on that step alone, because bridal salon alterations are priced like a luxury service, even when the work is identical. The dress will still be the dress. Nobody at your wedding is checking the label. They're looking at you. Now, you've saved on the venue, you've saved on the dress. Here's where you get to be creative instead of just frugal. And it's the part guests actually remember. That's next. Old rule: a beautiful wedding means more. More flowers, more centerpieces, more of everything, filling every table and every corner until it looks like a magazine. Here's the truth that saves you a fortune. Guests don't remember volume. They remember focal points. One dramatic, gorgeous installation, a flower arch behind you, a single stunning table, a statement backdrop, reads as wow, far more than 100 small arrangements that quietly cost more combined. So here's the modern move, and this is where you get to be clever. Concentrate your budget on the 1 or 2 spots where cameras and eyes actually land: the ceremony backdrop and the head table. Everywhere else, go simple and let it breathe. Empty space photographs as elegant, crowded photographs as busy. Now for the creative swaps that make people go, "How did she think of that?" Instead of full floral centerpieces, mixing candles and greenery. Greenery is a fraction of the price of blooms and looks lush and modern. Use potted plants or branches you can rent or reuse. And here's a fun one. In season, local flowers cost dramatically less than imported ones flown in out of season. So let the season pick your palette, and it'll look intentional and cost less. One tiny detail nobody thinks of: buy your filler flowers from a regular florist or wholesale, not the wedding line, and arrange a few yourself the day before. It's easier than you think, and it's the same trick we talked about with the venue. Pay for the flower, not the word wedding attached to it. You've now got a wedding that looks richer and costs less. Just 2 quick things left: the paper trap and the registry move nobody tells you about. Stay with me. 2 last rules, and they're the ones draining money right at the finish line. First, the paper trap. Old rule says you send thick, formal, professionally printed invitations with the inner envelope, the outer envelope, the little tissue paper, the RSVP card, the stamp on the RSVP card. By the time you add postage both ways, couples routinely spend hundreds just on paper that gets glanced at once and tossed. Here's the modern move. Go digital first for everything except the keepsake. Send a beautiful digital invitation and use a free online RSVP. It's instant, it tracks your head count automatically, and it kills the double postage problem entirely. If you love the feel of paper, print one gorgeous save the date to keep the tradition alive, and go digital for the rest. And a quick etiquette note, since people worry about this. Digital invitations are completely accepted now for all but the most formal weddings. The rule changed. Most of your guests will actually prefer it. Second, the registry. Old rule is you walk into one store and scan a checklist of china and appliances you may never use. The modern move, and this is the registry checklist secret. Nobody tells you. Use a universal registry that lets you add items from any store in one place. Plus, cash funds for things you actually want. The honeymoon, the house, an experience, guests get to feel like they gave something meaningful. And you're not stuck with a gravy boat you'll use once. Add a few items at every price point so no guest feels boxed in. That one move makes people more likely to give, not less. That's the rule book, rewritten. But before you go, there's one mindset shift that ties all of this together, and it's the real reason these couples end up happier and richer. Every old rule we broke today had the same thing in common. It was designed to make you spend more by making you afraid you'd regret spending less. That's the whole game. Do it properly, or you'll wish you had. But here's what actually happens. Nobody at your wedding is auditing your budget. No guest walks in counting flowers, checking the label in your dress, or judging the paper your invitation was printed on. They came to feel something. They came for you. So the modern rule, the only one that really matters, is this. Spend generously on the handful of things you'll actually feel and remember, and spend nothing on the things that only exist because that's how it's done. Do that, and you'll have a wedding that looks richer, feels warmer, and costs a fraction of what everyone told you it had to. If even one of these saved you money or gave you an idea, do me a favor and subscribe, because this channel is all about the stuff nobody else tells you. And the next video is exactly this kind of thing. The real numbers behind where wedding money disappears and how to take it back. I'll see you in that one.